Shocking truth. Are you living in 12 dimensions right now? Unbelievable revealed. A chill ran down Jake's spine as he stared at the humming device in front of him. It buzzed, flickered, and glowed with unnatural light, a portal to the unknown. Could it really be true? Were there truly 12 dimensions spiraling around like the colors of a cosmic wheel? He'd stumbled into this insanity while browsing the internet, but it had quickly sucked him in. Now he found himself in a room layered with secrets. Shadows flickered as if alive, and the scent of metal hung heavy in the air. Every heartbeat echoed in his ears, drowning out everything else. The flickering lights danced, revealing scattered papers filled with symbols that looked both ancient and futuristic. A map of the multiverse lay sprawled across the table, the lines shifting as if the ink was still wet. Each scribble promised secrets beyond human understanding. He felt a lump in his throat, fear mixing with excitement. What lay beyond those lines? What if he was on the edge of a revelation that could change everything? He looked at the dusty old clock on the wall. Ticked strangely, each tick holding the weight of 1,000 warnings. You have to be careful, Jake, he thought. You don't know what you're tampering with. The air crackled with tension, and the room seemed to bend under its pressure. What were these dimensions? Why did they matter? He needed answers, and he needed them fast. Suddenly, a shadow crossed the doorway. Jake whipped around. Heart racing. Was someone else here? A figure stepped forward, cloaked in darkness, voice low and resonant. You seek the truth? It asked, sending shivers through Jake. Who are you? He stammered. His hands trembled. There was something undeniably haunting about the stranger, but also something familiar. The tension spiked. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jake focused back on the figure, his heart pounding. What do you know? He demanded. The figure leaned in closer, revealing deep-set eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies. You have been chosen, Jake. The 12 dimensions are not just theory. They are alive, and they know you're here. The world around him spun, a kaleidoscope of colors swirling into chaos. What was this game? What would happen next? Finally, could he handle the truth? All he knew was that this revelation was just the beginning. The figure stepped closer, the shadows deepening, wrapping around like a cloak of unease. You don't understand the gravity of what you've stumbled upon. Every dimension you could imagine breathes, grows, and reacts. You've ignited something by just being here. Jake's mind raced. Ignited what? What do you mean? Panic threaded through his voice, but curiosity pulled him closer. They are watching, the figure said, voice a hushed whisper. They sense your presence. Their essay balance, and you've tipped it. What are you talking about? Jake retorted. He clenched his fists, the reality of the situation slamming down on him. There are guardians, protectors of the dimensions. They will come for you, and if they sense your intention isn't pure, they will not look kindly on this intrusion. Each word persuaded Jake inwardly, a sense of impending doom escalating within him. The shadows behind the cloaked figure danced malevolently, flickering as if waiting for something to burst forth. But you can gain their favor. You can control the dimensions instead of letting them control you, the figure continued, an edge of urgency creeping into their tone. What do I need to do? Jake replied, feeling an odd thrill alongside the fear. His world was already unraveling, and he sensed he was on the threshold of an incredible understanding. Find the keystone, the figure instructed, stepping back as they produced a small, crystalline object from their pocket. It glimmered, rotating with prisms of light. This is your path. It's the key to unlocking dimensional passageways and understanding their secrets. But it comes with a risk. What kind of risk? Jake asked, his stomach nodding at the weight of their words. Some dimensions harbor creatures of unimaginable power. They feed on the chaos you bring. When you open a portal, prepare for what might spill through. The figure's eyes pierced through him, a warning flashing behind them. Jake swallowed hard, feeling the heat radiating from the keystone. If there was power to be harnessed, it was within his grasp. But what would be the cost? Are you ready to embrace your destiny? The figure questioned, stepping even closer. As Jake reached out, the moment froze. He could feel the energy of the room shift, the tension thickening around him. An echo of distant screams lingered in the air, drowning out common sense. He hesitated, doubt creeping in like a shadow. What happens if I fail? You won't just fail, Jake. You risk awakening forces that even you cannot control. The figure cautioned, their voice low but urgent. Choose wisely. In that instant, a deafening crash echoed from the doorway. The walls trembled beneath the weight of whatever approached. Jake jumped back, panic spiraling. Was this the Guardians coming to collect their debt? I must go. The silhouette of the figure started to dissolve into shadow, urgency radiating from them. Remember, the 12 dimensions are alive and sentient. They are not to be trifled with. Wait, what's my next move? Jake shouted, desperation clawing at him. But the figure vanished, the last flicker of hope slipping through his fingers. He was left standing alone, heart racing, as the door burst open. A gust of frigid air swirled in, scattering the papers across the table like fallen leaves. Dark shapes loomed at the threshold. He was no longer safe. With no time to think, Jake grabbed the keystone and bolted for the door, his pulse racing as shadows enveloped him. But in his mind, a chilling thought burrowed in. Was this truly just the beginning? As he sprinted into the unknown, the only thought clung desperately in his mind. What had he really unleashed? Jake plunged into the hallway, the keystone clutched tightly in his fist. The shadows that had flickered around the figure now lunged at him, tendrils swirling like storm clouds, relentless and eager. His breath came in jagged gasps, a sharp contrast to the eerie silence that enveloped him. The weight of the dimly lit space bore down on his chest, each step echoing in the hollow corridor. What were those creatures? Guardians? He couldn't shake the thought. What if they were angry? He stumbled, barely catching himself against the jagged wall, the cold seeping through his shirt. Behind him, he could feel the pulse of something chasing, relentless. The sound was like thunder rolling through the air, creeping closer with every heartbeat. He dared a glance over his shoulder. The dark shapes were closer now, twisted figures that seemed to extend and contract, shifting in ways that defied logic. With instincts fueled by panic, Jake darted down a side corridor, hoping to lose them. Fear twisted in his gut, but a spark of determination ignited, urging him on. He needed answers. Where was the keystone supposed to lead him? Somewhere safe. Flashes of the cloaked figure's words played in his mind. The 12 dimensions are alive and sentient. It tumbled in his thoughts, mixing with the fear and confusion. With a slightly trembling hand, he fumbled the keystone, its crystalline surface catching glimmers of light as he turned it over, desperately searching for a clue. The structure of it felt like fate in his grip, vibrant and dangerous. A sudden roar broke through his thoughts, consuming the space around him. The Guardians, or whatever they were, emitted a bone-chilling growl, reverberating with a power he couldn't comprehend. The keystone began to vibrate, humming with energy, and Jake instinctively pressed it against the wall. In an instant, the wall shimmered, ripples spreading like water disturbed by a stone. The keystone throbbed, showing colors beyond comprehension. He could almost hear whispers in the air, beckoning him forward. Without a second thought, he stepped through the portal that opened before him, the world around him dissolving into threads of light and shadow. He landed hard on the ground, rolling to absorb the impact. Dizziness washed over him as he pushed himself up, scanning his new surroundings. He was in a strange landscape, a surreal blend of vibrant colors and swirling energies, unlike anything he had ever seen. But the air here felt different, thicker, charged. It was as if the atmosphere itself vibrated with a pulse of life. Suddenly, crackling noises interrupted his awe, and he turned to see the shadows from the corridor coalescing, ready to follow. Panic surged, and he stumbled back, the realization sinking in. The guardians had followed him. What do I do? He muttered, glancing around for any sign of escape. Then, a figure stepped from the mist, a guardian, towering and shrouded in shimmering energy. Its voice resonated like thunder. You've crossed into the nexus, the heart of the dimensions. Your time here may be short, human. Jake's heart raced. I need to understand. The guardian's eyes glinted with ancient wisdom. Understanding comes at a cost. Will you pay it? Was he ready for that? Could he handle whatever lay ahead? Would he walk this precarious line between power and oblivion? As the guardian's presence loomed larger, Jake felt the keystone pulse violently in his hand, a tangible reflection of his turmoil. What would happen if he chose to confront the truth? The shadows writhed closer, the answer barely escaping his lips as the portal flickered ominously behind him. Embrace it, or it will consume you. Did he dare to unlock the secrets of the Nexus? Or was that path fraught with dangers far worse than he imagined? Jake's mind raced as he stood there, heart pounding like a drum. The towering guardian loomed over him, its presence almost overwhelming. He felt the keystone throb in his grip, vibrating with a power that seemed to echo the chaos within him. What cost? Jake demanded, his voice shaky but defiant. What do I have to give? The guardian leaned forward, its shimmering form bending like smoke in the wind. The truth requires relinquishment of something dear. Knowledge and power can be intoxicating, but they demand sacrifice. Jake's stomach twisted at the thought. Sacrifice? What could possibly mean more to him than his freedom? He felt the weight of every decision hanging in the air, thick with anxiety. But the shadows creeping closer brought a far more immediate threat. The growling filled the air again, growing louder, closer. I don't have time for riddles, he blurted out, desperation rising in his voice. I can't just stand here. Then you must choose, the guardian replied, voice steady and unwavering. Face your fears and seek understanding, or flee and forever remain ignorant. The shadows were now swirling around him, reaching out with claw-like tendrils, encroaching on his space, cutting off options. Panic clawed at him. I can offer you wisdom, power, and the ability to traverse these dimensions, the guardian interrupted. But you must be prepared to lose what binds you to your former life. Jake swallowed hard, steeling himself for whatever was to come. The shadows whispered around him, taunting him with memories of his past, his friends, his family. Was he willing to pay that price? What do I have to lose? He muttered under his breath, swallowing the lump of dread in his throat. What am I willing to sacrifice? Everything can alter in an instant, the guardian said, its voice a blend of warning and intrigue. But sometimes it's the very bindings that hold you back from your true path. With every second passing, the decisions weighed more heavily on him. The shadows lunged, snapping at him with teeth made of darkness, and Jake felt a primal instinct to fight back. All right, he shouted, adrenaline surging through him. I'm in. Show me. The guardian's eyes glinted with approval as it raised a hand, signaling Jake forward. Step closer, and you will commence the journey to enlightenment. Jake stepped into the shadowy figure, the keystone glowing fiercely with energy at his side. The world twisted and flickered, merging into a luminous cascade. Memories began flooding through him at a breakneck speed, faces of friends, laughter, the warmth of home but tinged with a bittersweet ache. Let go, the guardian whispered. Feel it dissolve. The shadows clawed at him, reaching deeper into his past. He felt them snatching at his emotions, each tug a painful reminder of the life he once held dear. No, he yelled, shaking his head, attempting to fend off the grasp of despair. Embrace the transformation, the guardian urged. Through loss you shall discover strength. Accept that the past has no hold on you. He gritted his teeth, clenching the keystone tighter. The light enveloped him, and he felt as if he were both breaking apart and becoming whole. A surge of energy coursed through him, igniting new purpose and clarity amidst the swirling chaos. Then, A blinding flash erupted, forcing him to shut his eyes. When he opened them again, he was no longer in the Nexus. He was standing in a dark forest, shrouded in mist, with the sound of distant howling echoing through the trees. Where was he now? Welcome to the Shadow Realm. A voice called from the shadows, deep and menacing. You might have chosen illumination, but darkness is never far behind. Jake felt a chill creep up his spine. What had he unlocked? And what awaited him in this new world? As he took a cautious step forward, the realization hit him this was just the beginning. Stay vigilant, human. The voice whispered ominously from the darkness. For you have awakened something far beyond your understanding. What lay ahead was uncertain. But one truth was clear. The dimensions were shifting, and he was now part of a much larger game. What forces had he stirred? The air hung thick with a foreboding energy, pressing against Jake as he stood alone in the darkness of the Shadow Realm. He could feel the chill of the mist curling around him like fingers, tugging at his clothes, clinging to his skin. The howl echoed again, sharpening his senses, chilling him down to the marrow. Who are you? Jake called out, forcing bravado into his voice. What do you want from me? The shadows shifted, and a figure emerged from the gloom, vague at first, but slowly solidifying into a form. Tall and cloaked in darkness, it almost felt like it could swallow the light around it. Jake's breath caught. He felt small, aware that he was stepping into something immense and terrifying. I am the keeper of secrets in this realm, the figure growled, its voice like gravel. You've trespassed here seeking knowledge, but knowledge has its guardians, and not all truths are meant for the faint of heart. Don't play games with me, Jake shot back, clenching the keystone against his chest. I'm not here to back down. Bold, but misdirected. The keeper waved a hand, and shadows danced in a spiral around them. You were foolish to think that sacrifice would come without consequence. Do you truly know what you have relinquished? Jake's heart raced. The memories were already pulling at him, the laughter of friends, the warmth of his family. Everything that gave him comfort was now slipping away like sand through his fingers. No, it can't be. I didn't want to lose them, not yet. Then be prepared to face what you have awakened. The keeper warned, features twisting into a sneer that cut through the mist. You must confront the specters within these woods. They are manifestations of your past choices and failures. Face them or succumb to the darkness. With that, the shadows exploded outward, and 3 figures emerged, each wreathed in swirling smoke, their faces obscured. They loomed larger than life, eyes glowing with a phantom light. Jake felt his blood run cold. Jake, they whispered in a choir that gripped his soul. Remember us? His pulse quickened as he recognized his childhood friend, Ben, who had moved away and hadn't spoken to him in years. The second was his high school teacher, who had believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. And the last, it was someone he wanted to forget, the day he lost his sister in that tragic accident. No, he stumbled back, fists balled at his sides. You're not real. You're just shadows. Shadows born from unhealed wounds, whispered Ben, stepping forward, an expression of sorrow etched on his face. You sacrificed us for power, Jake. Is it worth it? Enough, he screamed, eyes burning with tears. He couldn't bear to see their faces, couldn't face the truths they represented. But then he realized they needed to hear these words. He needed to say them. I chose this. I invoked the Keeper's powers. I was desperate. I wanted something greater than my mundane life. A ragged breath escaped him, each word layered with pain. But I never wanted to lose you. The shadows flickered and swirled, lurching closer, feeding on the turmoil. To gain power, you must confront those you've lost. To embrace the new, you must first forgive yourself, Jake. The Keeper's voice echoed ominously, a reminder of the impending danger that loomed in this spectral confrontation. With every second, the pull of the past was dragging him down, threatening to drown him in regret. Could he really face the very ghosts of his failures? He felt the keystone pulse violently, almost as if it was urging him to act. Empowered by rage and sorrow, Jake took a deep breath and stepped forward, determined to confront the specters head-on. Let us finish this. Just as he advanced, a dark shape behind the figment stirred, a presence more powerful and menacing than all the shadows combined. An otherworldly creature with glowing eyes stared directly at him, mouth sharp and jagged like a broken promise. "You have awakened more than you bargained for, Jake," it hissed, laughter dripping from its voice. "Are you truly ready to face the consequences of your desires?" Jake froze, heart pounding, the reality of his situation crashing over him like a tidal wave. What monstrous truth would he have to confront next? With breathless anticipation, he realized something had indeed awakened an entity far greater than he ever anticipated. The very fabric of his choices had thrown him into a race against time. What would it demand from him now? The creature loomed, its presence suffocating. Jake's instincts screamed at him to run, but his legs felt like concrete. The air crackled with bad energy, and the shadows shivered in anticipation of what would unfold. "Who are you?" Jake stammered, his throat dry as ashes. "What do you want from me?" It tilted its head, a grotesque smile stretching across its jagged mouth. "You'll find the answers you seek if you're willing to pay the price." The shadows twisted wildly, each pulse flickering around Jake like angry wasps. He had touched forbidden knowledge, and now he was ensnared, a clueless pawn in a game far beyond his comprehension. "I'm not scared of you," he lied, forcing some semblance of bravery into his voice. "Scared?" The creature chuckled, a low rumble that sent vibrations through Jake's chest. "You're an open book, boy. Your past has laid bare before me. Loss, regret, desperation, they are the threads that bind your very essence, and they vibrate with such dissonance." Jake's heart raced as the shadows shifted, revealing more of the specters. He couldn't look away. "Ben, Mrs. Thompson, please help me," he begged, his voice cracking. "Help you?" Ben echoed, sadness lined in his hollow eyes. "You sought this path, Jake. Now you must embrace it." Tremors skittered down his spine. Memories flooded in a whirlwind of guilt, each face a haunting reminder of his past choices. "This isn't fair. I asked for power to change my life, not lose everything I love. Nothing is fair in this realm of shadows," the creature hissed, its luminous eyes narrowing on him with dark intensity. "You wish to confront the specters of your past. But first you must endure the weight of your desires." With a sudden movement, the keeper raised its hand, unleashing a blinding light that threw Jake back. His world spiraled into chaos. The ground shook beneath him, a once solid surface now threatening to dissolve into nothingness. Pain clawed at his chest, memories slicing through him like arrows. The day of the accident surfaced his sister's laughter, the car's screeching tires, that terrible silence that followed. "You can't make me relive this," Jake yelled, fists clenched. "Yet here you are." The creature snarled, emerging from the chaos with newfound vigor. "Like moths drawn to the flame, souls like yours are eternally bound to their choices. The longer you deny your past, the more powerful it becomes." The shadows receded, gathering into a swirling vortex around Jake. Whispers filled the air, echoing in a haunting symphony. "Face us, Jake, face your cowardice," they cried out. He felt the keystone at his chest pulse violently, infusing him with a raw, electric energy. A sudden clarity sliced through his dread. If he truly wanted to break free, he needed to confront these specters, not just for himself but for each one of them. "Enough," he shouted, voice trembling but resolute. "I won't deny you anymore. I want to remember. I want to forgive." The vortex stilled, and an eerie silence blanketed the realm. The creature's jagged grin faltered for a brief moment. "Do you really think forgiveness will free you? The shadows are relentless. They'll chase you until you're nothing but an echo." Jake could feel an ancient force coiling around him, a chance to either empower his resolve or drown in despair. As he faced his memories, glowing faces emerged from the dark. Love and loss intertwined, but all he felt was anger and desperation. With newfound courage, Jake took a step forward, eyes blazing. "I'll show you that I'm not afraid anymore. I'll shoulder the burden of my choices." And right then, a portal opened behind him, revealing a trembling light that felt both inviting and terrifying. What lay beyond? Was it salvation or further damnation? The keeper's laughter echoed through the void as Jake hesitated on the cusp of decision. What awaited him on the other side? Would he reclaim his past, or would he be forever lost in shadows? The light from the portal shimmered like a living thing, hypnotic yet chaotic. Jake felt it tugging at him, urging him to step inside. But what awaited him? Would he be faced with the people he had once loved, or would he encounter the monstrous truths he feared to confront? Taking a deep breath, he reached for the portal. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, a jolt of energy shot through him, and painful memories rushed in like a tidal wave. He saw his sister's smile, so brilliant, and then it twisted into a horrific scream. He staggered back, clutching his head, desperately trying to block out the echoes. "Forget them if you wish," the keeper taunted, its form flickering within the shadows. "But they won't forget you." Jake felt tears prick his eyes. "I don't know how to forget. I never wanted to." "Then remember," the keeper said, holding out a clawed hand. "Remember it all. Your pain, your courage, every spark that made you who you are today." The shadows coalesced, forming scenes from his past, old scars reopening before his eyes. The night of the accident played out again. The chaos, the heart-wrenching realization. His heart raced in anguish as he witnessed the dread all over again, feeling the weight of grief drag him down. "No!" he shouted, shaking his head as if he could will the memories away. "I can't do this. Run if you must, but know this, each step away from your past is a step deeper into it." Jake clenched his fists, determination lining his jaw. With each word, he felt the keystone pulse, amplifying his resolve. If he was going to face it, he needed to embrace the truth, ugly though it might be. He turned back to the portal, its light now a beacon in the dread-filled night. "I won't run away. If I step through, I'll face my truths." As if tethered to his declaration, the portal swirled with brightness, the shadows seeming to pull back in acknowledgement. Taking a step forward, he braced himself and plunged through the shimmering veil. The world shifted violently. Instead of warmth, he was met with cold, biting wind that seemed to slice through him. The void shifted, colors swirling into a nauseating kaleidoscope. Sights and sounds crashed around him, drawing him into a new nightmare. He was surrounded by the very essence of his fears. Suddenly, he found himself standing on a desolate street, the echoes of laughter replaced by whispers of despair. Images materialized, memories entwined with the fabric of reality. He could see his sister, her laughter now hollow, a ghost of the joy he had longed for. She turned, looking right at him, eyes full of understanding yet sorrow. "Jake, why did you leave me behind?" The words hit him like a ton of bricks. I was too scared. I couldn't save you." "I know," she replied softly, her figure flickering, desperation leaking into her voice. "But you can save yourself. Face what you've become." The shadows around him writhed at her words, morphing into figures of people he had hurt, abandoned, and lost. Each face bore the weight of pain he had caused, their eyes accusing and bleeding regret. "No!" he cried out, clutching his head as the truth swirled maddeningly. "I won't disappear here." Yet deep down he felt something shifting within. Could he turn this anguish into strength? Could he truly confront his demons? The realization struck him: the sins he ran from were not merely his tormentors but also his gateway to healing. He closed his eyes, untangling every thread of guilt and grief he carried, ready to spill everything into the open. "I will not be a prisoner of my past any longer," he vowed, his voice a roaring challenge against the impending darkness. Just as he steadied himself, a storm began to brew around him. Thunder rumbled, shadows deepened, and the keeper's laughter echoed once more. Was this the reckoning he sought, or merely a chance to dive deeper into his own chaos? With the world falling apart around him, he stood, heart pounding, ready to challenge what lay ahead. What other truths were waiting to be discovered? Would he rise to meet them or find himself crushed beneath their weight? The darkness closed in, thick and tangible, It swirled around Jake, wrapping him in cold tendrils that whispered of despair. The storm raged, echoing the chaos inside him, and he braced himself as shadows congealed into nightmarish shapes. The figures from his past moved closer, their faces contorted in pain, accusing eyes boring into his soul. "Jake!" they cried. Their voices were a cacophony of anguish and betrayal. "You turned your back on us." As their words crashed over him like waves, Jake staggered back, desperate to escape the haunting echoes. Memories leaped out at him, each one sharper than the last. His old friend, gnarled and twisted with resentment, pointed an accusatory finger. His sister's face blurred with tears, each droplet a reminder of his failure. "No," he bellowed. "I won't be shackled by my past." But the shadows only drew nearer, their hands reaching for him as if to pull him deeper into the abyss. Jake's heart raced, pounding in his chest like a war drum. No more running. Not now. Not ever again. Each step toward the shadows felt both thrilling and terrifying. Jake focused on the light of the portal behind him, a pulsing beacon that promised release from this torment. "I face you," he shouted into the ebony void, finally allowing his emotions to explode. "I face every single one of you." Suddenly, the air changed. The scornful faces shifted. Confusion flickered in their eyes as the keeper's laughter echoed, the sound rippling across the darkness like a sinister wave. "You think you can confront them?" it mocked. "You're too weak to change what was." "No," Jake shouted, louder than before. "The past doesn't define me. I will break free." And with that, new energy surged through him. The keystone pulsed more fiercely, connecting him to something deeper, a well of strength that he had never acknowledged. Memories formed paths around him, each holding a lesson, each a fragment of truth. With every breath, he harnessed that energy, intertwining it with his pain. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the keystone, bathing him in warmth. The shadows recoiled, whispering frantically, retreating against the brilliance. The familiar faces around him stood frozen, their expressions shifting from rage to curiosity. What was this unusual change? "Jake," his sister's ghostly figure whispered, the sorrow in her voice dissolving into understanding. "If you're ready to let go, we can't hold on to you." "I'm ready," he declared, feeling the warmth envelop him like a comforting embrace. "I'll carry you with me, I promise." The air crackled, and he felt a surge of power. With a fierce determination, he released the burdens he had long kept close, each heartache, each regret. The shadows twisted and writhed, losing their hold as they blended into the light that now surrounded Jake. Suddenly, a new darkness pooled at his feet, swelling and thrumming, a pulsing mass that threatened him once more. The keeper's silhouette emerged from the murk, towering and menacing. "You think you've won?" he sneered, eyes gleaming with malice. "The real challenge is yet to come." As the clouds around him swirled and darkened, Jake found himself standing at the brink of an abyss, the weight of 1,000 memories pressing down on him. The light of the portal flickered, dimming as dread slowly seeped back in. What do you mean?" Jake's voice trembled, uncertainty clawing at his throat. The keeper stepped forward, shadowy tendrils seeping from its form, wrapping tightly around Jake. "This is only the beginning. Somewhere out there lies a truth that will shatter you." Panic surged within him. Was he truly ready for the confrontation that awaited? As the darkness closed in again, all Jake could do was prepare himself. He wasn't alone anymore. He carried the memories of his past, but would they be enough to confront the terrors yet unseen? What lay beyond the threshold of this darkness, and could he summon the strength to face it? The shadows swirled aggressively, each tendril trying to bind Jake tighter, as if the keeper's malevolence had come alive, breathing down his neck with an icy whisper. He fought against the encroaching darkness. His body felt heavy, as though it was sinking into quicksand. With every pulse of the keystone, the light stabbed at the murk, but the effort demanded more than he ever anticipated. "Shatter me?" he spat, defiance igniting the fire in his chest. "I'll show you what shatters." He clenched his fists, feeling the energy swell like a tidal wave within him. A surge of light erupted from the keystone, casting the keeper back momentarily. For just a heartbeat, the darkness hesitated, revealing an opening behind the thrumming wall of shadows. "Go!" A soft whisper echoed through the chaos. It was his sister's voice, warm and reassuring amidst the ice-like fear. Jake hesitated, glancing back at the figures now waiting in the light, mouths slightly agape. Uncertainty gnawed at him. Were they truly there to guide him, or were they simply remnants trapped in this theater of horrors? His resolve wavered for a split second, just enough for the keeper to capitalize. With a roar, dark tendrils shot forth, wrapping around his wrists, pulling him away from the light. "You think you can escape?" Its voice slithered through the darkness. "This reality is woven tightly, you can't pull yourself free." Jake gritted his teeth, trying to harness the lessons imbued in those memories. Each second ticked like a rapidly spinning clock, churning with desperation. "No!" he yelled, wrenching against the shadows biting into his flesh. "I was never meant to be a prisoner." He pushed against the darkness, channeling every ounce of strength his heart could muster. With a final, guttural scream, visions of his past ignited within him, the warmth spilling outward as if to engulf the shadows. The memories weren't just burdens. They were keys unlocking forbidden doors. With each powerful thought, he felt the tendrils slacken. Images of laughter, joy, and hope filled his mind, overwhelming the pain that had once defined him. Visuals of his sister smiling, of friends rallying around a campfire, they wove a tapestry of his strength. Then came a blinding flash, eclipsing the darkness as Jake roared his defiance. "I won't let you control me." The energy expanded outward, forcing the keeper back, the spectral tendrils retreating as if burned by the light of truth. But there was a shift again. In the moment of clarity, the keeper's laughter rippled through the space. "Foolish boy, but you're only at the beginning. You'll face pieces of yourself you've buried, truths that dwell beneath the surface. When the time comes, you'll wish you stayed in the dark." The very fabric of the air thickened, pressing down like a weight that robbed him of breath. The portal behind him flickered violently, darkness swirling as if alive. Shadows and light merged in a chaotic dance, shaking the space around him. Jake's pulse raced. What truths lay hidden in the dim corners of his heart? He had felt the power of his past, but the keeper was right. He could still feel the echo of old fears holding on tight. Suddenly, everything stilled. A cacophony of whispers flooded Jake's mind, each voice a fragment of truth he had long ignored. "It's all a trap," they hissed. "You think you're winning?" With resolve lining his chest, Jake stepped forward, ready to dive into the depths of his own soul. His fingers brushed the threshold of the portal, sparks of energy coursing through him. "Bring it on," he murmured, ready to face what lay in wait. Because somewhere within that abyss was a truth that could either crush him or finally set him free. What memories still hide in the dark recesses of his mind? And will they help or harm him as he ventures into the unknown? Jake stood at the edge of oblivion, shadows swirling around him like a storm, memories pulling him in different directions. He felt every heartache, every regret, pressing down on him, the weight of his past like a suffocating shroud. The voice of the keeper echoed ominously, taunting him with the truths he had hidden away. "Face me and understand the cost," the keeper hissed, darkness writhing in tandem with its words. Taking a deep breath, Jake steeled himself. He knew his journey had not just been about energy or power. It had always been about coming to terms with who he was, all the pieces of him, the hero, the coward, the lost boy who had failed to save his sister. "I'm not afraid of the truth anymore," Jake shouted, his voice steady even as the shadows lunged. The keeper faltered, its confidence fraying as Jake released the energy of the keystone, bursting forth like a supernova. Light erupted from it, illuminating the gloom around him, casting the dark creature into retreat. "Remember this feeling," the keeper seethed, "but understand it's just a moment. Burn bright, for soon you will extinguish." The shadows screeched as they were engulfed by the light, hissing in agony as the memories transformed, taking on new shapes. The ghostly figures of his past shifted, their pain replaced by shimmering tendrils of understanding. "Jake!" His sister's voice rang clear, her smile brightening the haze. "You've grown. Don't let the darkness deceive you. Use it." Jake stumbled as fragments of memories smashed together in a vibrant cacophony. The echoes of laughter, the warmth of companionship, all danced before him, weaving a tapestry of strength. Each familiar face now encouraged rather than haunted. "I choose to remember. I choose to forgive," he proclaimed, and with those words, he felt the keystone surge with an electric fervor, amplifying his resolve. The shadows continued to swirl, but now, they were merely a storm before the calm. "Enough!" he bellowed with overwhelming certainty. "I am here to claim my power, not to be consumed by my failures." The keeper screeched again, shadows twisting wildly as they recoiled from Jake's defiance. "You think this is victory? You only have scratched the surface of what you'll face. You misunderstand," Jake replied, fisting his hand around the keystone, feeling the rhythm of its energy pulse in sync with his heartbeat. "This isn't about winning or losing. It's about understanding who I am and what I've sacrificed." The keeper's laughter echoed unnaturally, but Jake recognized the tremor of fear beneath it. Every step he took forward sent ripples through the shadows, calming them. "Every moment of pain builds strength," he declared, stepping deeper into the light. "I now honor those I've lost by not letting that pain define me. I will carry them with me." As he surged ahead, memories flared vividly. Images of his sister wrapped around him like a protective cloak, shielding him as he ventured into the unknown. The shadows trembled, and the keeper's sneer faltered. "No!" the keeper shrieked, grasping at the air as if trying to hold onto the fading shadows. "You cannot escape the truth within." But it was too late. Jake broke through the final barrier, stepping into the blinding light of the portal shimmering before him. His surroundings melted away, the cacophony of pain fading into whispers of freedom. When he finally emerged, he found himself standing on a radiant plain, sunlight streaming through the trees, illuminating vibrant colors in a reality he never thought possible. He breathed deeply, filling his lungs with pure air, a stark contrast to the stale darkness he'd fought against. Jake turned, realizing the keeper had not followed. He stood amidst the remnants of dim shadows, each a fragment of the past now transformed into something powerful, something real. "You did it." His sister's voice floated through the air, soft yet clear. "You confronted your fears and emerged stronger, both for yourself and for us. I won't forget you," he whispered, feeling their presence wrap around him. The pain still lingered, but it was no longer a chain, it was a thread connecting him to love, memories, and a future he could shape. With his heart beating steadily, Jake felt hope radiating within him. He embraced the light around him, letting it guide him toward the next chapter of life beyond the 12 dimensions. "I'm ready," he declared, looking ahead, anticipation sparking in his chest. The secrets of the universe awaited him, and he was no longer afraid. And in that moment, he understood. The true journey begins when we confront what we fear most and liberate ourselves from the shadows of regret. As Jake took his first steps into his new reality, this truth echoed in his mind and heart, driving him forward. Now, it's time for you to seize your own journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and spread the word. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Show your support, only true fans know how important it is.